Ever heard of a crime so twisted, it feels like it came straight out of a psychological thriller?
Oh, absolutely.
That's exactly what we're diving into today.
Ooh, exciting.
The case of Ezra Mandalas.
Okay.
A story of love and obsession, and then ultimately murder.
All the good stuff.
And we've got some fascinating sources for this one.
Yeah.
Court transcripts
Okay.
and a true crime podcast episode.
Oh, wow.
Giving us like a front row seat to this whole thing.
A 3D view almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to set the stage,
Okay.
let's start with Ezra herself.
All right.
She's a bit of an enigma, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. From what I gathered from the sources, she's constantly reinventing herself.
Yeah.
Even her name. Originally Monica Carlin, she changed it to Ezra McCandless.
Oh, wow.
This desire for transformation just seems to be key to who she is.
And it's not just the name, right?
No.
She adopts this, like, starving artist persona,
Yeah.
frequenting this local coffee shop in Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
Racist, right?
Right, races, yeah.
Yeah.
But then you've got these conflicting accounts of her upbringing, like the financial support from her parents. It's like all over the place.
And that's where it gets interesting.
Right.
Especially for someone who's fascinated by psychology like you.
Yeah.
These inconsistencies.
Yeah.
This tendency to, present herself in this very specific light. It's like almost like a character in an indie film.
Oh, yeah.
She actually said that once.
She did?
Yeah.
Wow.
Raises questions about potential manipulation.
Oh, yeah.
Even from a young age.
Yeah, it's like crafting this image to get a reaction.
Totally.
Even way back then.
Yeah.
Speaking of races,
Yeah.
that becomes kind of her stage, so to speak.
Right.
She meets Jason Mangle there.
Yeah.
Older boyfriend.
Yeah.
National Guard medic.
Supports her financially.
Completely oblivious.
Oh, yeah.
To the tangled web
Yeah.
that she's weaving with all these relationships.
I mean, Jason, from what I can tell, he's just drawn to her vulnerability, her perceived need for his protection, his support.
Yeah.
He has no clue that she's also involved with Alex Woodworth,
The barista?
the philosophical barista at Racy's.
This isn't just any love triangle, though, is it?
No.
Their first conversation is about cannibalism.
Yeah, can you imagine? Yeah.
Well,
It's worth noting, though, that Alex's interest in cannibalism was purely philosophical.
oh, okay.
Like his journals, they delve into the erotics of it, the power dynamics.
Okay.
But there's no indication that he ever actually acted on any of these thoughts
Okay.
or that he intended to harm anyone.
I mean, still.
Oh, yeah.
Intense topic for a first encounter.
First date.
Yeah, that sets the tone for their relationship.
Yeah.
Which becomes very intense, very complex,
Okay.
very quickly.
Yeah.
And we see this reflected in Alex's journals. He's deeply drawn to Ezra's intellect, to what he perceives as her darkness.
But he also grapples with this ongoing relationship that she has with Jason.
Yeah.
He's torn
Yeah.
between his desire for her and the knowledge that she's not being honest with him.
So it's messy.
Very messy.
Yeah.
And then you throw John into the mix,
Oh, yeah, John,
another friend of Jason's.
who also gets involved with Ezra.
Gets sexually involved with Ezra, yeah.
Oh, but
It's just a tangled web.
it's a tangled web.
At this point, you start to see the cracks in Ezra's facade.
Okay.
This carefully constructed facade.
Yeah.
She begins to manipulate Jason, gaslight him even,
Okay.
trying to control his perception of her relationship with both Alex and John.
Can you break down gaslighting for our listener?
Of course.
I think it's a term we hear a lot, but it's always good to,
Yeah.
have a good definition.
Gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation.
Okay.
Where the abuser makes the victim doubt their own sanity, their own perception of reality.
Wow.
So in Ezra's case,
Yeah.
she would twist events, deny things that had happened,
Oh, wow.
blame Jason for her own actions,
Wow.
just to make him question his memories and his judgment.
So with all this deception,
Oh, yeah.
it's only a matter of time before things start to unravel. Right?
Oh, absolutely. The tension just keeps escalating,
Yeah.
especially when Jason discovers Ezra's infidelity.
Through text
So
messages.
text messages, yeah.
Oh, no.
He confronts both John and Alex.
Wow.
The whole situation just explodes.
And we're still just setting the stage.
We're just setting the stage for the tragic events that are to come.
Oh, wow.
And right in the middle of all this chaos, Ezra, she doubles down on her manipulative tactics.
Oh, no. What does she do?
Makes a shocking accusation against John.
Okay.
Claims that he raped her.
It's hard to believe that someone would use such a serious accusation, as a weapon.
That's exactly what she does.
Wow.
Seems like a desperate attempt to just deflect any blame from herself,
Wow.
regain control of the narrative, and just further manipulate those around her.
It's really chilling.
Yeah.
It's important to note, though, that John, he vehemently denies this accusation.
He does.
And is never charged with any crime
No.
related to this.
This detail, I think, adds another layer of complexity to this case.
Oh, yeah.
It really just further highlights that pattern of manipulation that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
And raises even more questions about Ezra's motives, really, and the lengths that she'll go to just achieve her goals.
So, with all this tension building, we inevitably arrive at the fateful day.
March 22nd, 2018.
Ezra shows up at Racy's.
Right.
But she's acting strangely out of character.
Yeah.
And then leaves with this man named Matt.
Doesn't sound like her.
No.
Not at all. Jason, though, he senses that something's off.
Okay.
Remembers he saw that letter that she wrote to Alex.
Yeah, filled with anger and resentment.
Yeah, and he's worried.
Of course.
About what might happen. So he decides to follow her, tracks her down to Alex's house.
Wow.
Worried for her well-being.
Okay.
And this is really where the situation just escalates dramatically.
Yeah.
There's a confrontation at Alex's house. Police are even called.
Wow.
But here's where it gets even more confusing.
What happens?
The police arrive, they speak to everyone.
Okay.
And they're ultimately assured that everything is fine.
Wow.
They leave.
Believing it's been resolved.
Yeah.
Like the calm before the storm.
It really is. Jason, he tries to convince Ezra and Alex to have their conversation in public. Smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fears what might happen if they're left alone.
Yeah.
But his efforts are in vain.
They end up in the car together.
They do.
And that's when tragedy strikes.
Yeah.
So Ezra claims that Alex attacked her, forced her to defend herself.
Yeah.
Leading to his death.
But as we delve deeper into her account, things just don't add up.
What do you mean?
She claims memory loss.
Okay.
Amnesia. Yet there's no medical evidence to support this.
Wow.
And the physical evidence, it doesn't quite fit either.
Okay.
Lack of defensive wounds on Ezra.
Okay.
Superficial nature of her injuries.
Okay.
The location of the crime scene.
Yeah.
It just all points to a different story.
Than the one she's telling.
Exactly. It's almost as if she's trying to construct a narrative that fits this self-defense claim.
Yeah.
But the pieces, they don't quite fit.
Wow.
You've got the carefully placed knife.
Okay.
The broken phone.
Okay.
Her initial attempt to mislead authorities about where it all happened, it just raises serious questions.
About her credibility.
Exactly.
So if we assume that her self-defense claim is shaky at best, the question becomes why?
Right. What was her motive for killing Alex?
Yeah.
Well, there are a few possibilities.
Okay.
On the surface, it seems like eliminating Alex would remove a threat to her relationship with Jason.
Okay, so he's a loose end.
Exactly. Alex was the one person who could expose her lies, her manipulations.
Makes sense.
But there could be more to it than that.
Okay.
Remember, we've been talking about Ezra's tendency for manipulation.
Right.
So could it be that she also wanted to frame Alex as the aggressor?
Oh, wow.
Gain sympathy for herself?
Oh, okay.
And justify her actions?
That's a chilling thought.
It is.
But it fits the pattern.
It does.
Of her behavior.
She's a master manipulator, always striving to control the narrative.
Yeah.
Present herself as the victim.
And this tactic, it continues to play out during the trial.
It does.
She tries to manipulate the jury.
Yeah.
With emotional displays playing the victim.
Right.
Even engaging in strange, almost flirtatious behavior.
With Jason.
With Jason when he testifies against her.
Wow.
It's as if she can't grasp the gravity of the situation.
Right.
Or separate her desire for attention and control from the consequences she's facing.
Yeah.
But the jury, they see through it.
They do.
They find her guilty of murder.
Yeah.
And she's sentenced to life in prison.
With the possibility of parole after 50 years.
It's a harsh sentence.
It is.
But it reflects the severity of the crime.
Absolutely.
And the calculated nature of her actions.
But even with the trial concluded and a verdict reached, Ezra's story, it doesn't end there.
It doesn't.
No.
What happens?
This is where things get really interesting in terms of like the broader implications of the case.
Okay.
So despite being behind bars, Ezra maintains an active presence on social media.
What?
And continues to sell her artwork.
Right.
It's almost as if she's trying to build this new persona, like where she's the misunderstood artist, a victim of circumstance, despite the evidence against her.
It's wild. It really raises questions about, like, truth and perception,
It does.
especially in the age of social media.
Where anyone can curate their own image,
Right.
control their narrative.
It's unsettling. This case really gets under your skin, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, it does. It really makes you think about the power of manipulation.
Oh, absolutely.
The danger of unchecked narcissism.
Yeah.
And the length that people will go to just maintain control.
It's a stark reminder that even with a guilty verdict, a life sentence,
Yeah.
the story doesn't always end there.
Oh.
Ezra's continued presence online,
Yeah.
her attempts to shape the narrative even from behind bars, it
raises a lot of questions.
so many questions. And, for me, one of the most disturbing aspects of this whole case is how Ezra consistently targeted individuals she perceived as vulnerable.
Right.
She preyed on their kindness, their empathy, their desire to help.
Jason's unwavering support for her, despite all the red flags.
I know.
It's heartbreaking. He wanted to believe in her so badly.
He did.
Even when the evidence was staring him right in the face.
Yeah. It's a tragic example of how love can sometimes blind us to the truth.
Yeah.
Making us susceptible to manipulation, deceit.
Absolutely.
It's a reminder that even the most intelligent, perceptive individuals, they can fall victim to these tactics.
Especially when their emotions are involved.
Especially when their emotions are involved.
So what can we take away from this deep dive into Ezra's story? A case filled with twists and turns, psychological complexities, and ultimately a profound sense of tragedy. What are the key takeaways?
For me, I think one of the most important lessons here is the importance of critical thinking.
Yeah.
We need to question narratives, even those that seem really compelling or evoke strong emotions.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We need to be aware of the signs of manipulation.
Yeah.
And be willing to challenge inconsistencies and red flags.
That's our gut instincts right now.
Exactly. If something feels off,
Yeah.
if someone's words don't align with their actions,
Yeah.
we need to pay attention to those warning signs.
Absolutely.
And it's not just about protecting ourselves from potential manipulation.
Right.
It's also about recognizing these patterns in others. Yes.
Being able to identify those who might be vulnerable to these tactics and offer support.
This case is a stark reminder that manipulation, narcissism,
Oh, yeah.
they can have devastating consequences.
Absolutely.
Not just for the individuals involved,
Right.
but for everyone in their orbit.
It's a story that really stays with you.
Yeah,
Forces you to confront those darker aspects of human nature.
it does.
But it also highlights the resilience of the human spirit
Absolutely.
and the importance of seeking truth even when it's uncomfortable.
If this deep dive has left you wanting more, you can search for Ezra McCandless online.
You'll find articles, court documents, even Ezra's own social media posts.
It's a rabbit hole worth exploring.
If you're interested in the psychology of manipulation and the complexities of criminal behavior.
But as you delve deeper,
Yeah.
remember to approach the information with a critical eye,
Yes.
questioning motives and interpretations just as we've done in this deep dive.
Absolutely.